I am Geoffrey when in the Kingdom of Sweden campaign from 1648, 30 Years of War, a kingdom's total conversion mod for medieval to total war by Infract. We are in the beginning of September 1631. 4 imperialist armies are confronting our 3 Swedish armies on the river Haale, better known today as Saale. The historical Battle of Breitenfeld was fought not far from here in September 1631. Albrecht Wallenstein is here, as well as the Kaiser, and on our side we have Gustavus Adolphus,
Command me, sire.
the Scottish Brigade under John Mackay and Robert Monroe,
Hail, my king.
and on our right Gustav Horn, surrounded by the Imperialists.
Yes, noble sire.
There is a strong garrison also in Weimar, so we need a 4th army for our cause to stand a chance of success. Jons of Brandenburg's twin is left in Greiz, as Johann Casimir von Wellen takes part of the garrison of Greiz, supplemented by units from Leipzig and Plauen, and hastens to the river Haale.
Hail, my king.
His task is to attack Melchior von Hatzfeld to take the imperialist pressure off our right wing under Gustav Horn, then with the help of Gustav Horn and the Scots wear down the rest of the imperialist armies as our king marches on to Weimar. He marches on to Weimar in order to take it by surprise. His plan was to attack one of the generals outside Weimar, force the garrison of Weimar to sally out, defeat them in battle, and take Weimar by surprise in a swift strike. However, as it turned out, he did not have enough movement points, and what was intended to be a masterstroke ended up as a debacle and a bit of an embarrassment for our king, who could no longer participate in this battle on the river Haale. Not only that, but now he was a liability because he had expended all his movement points and therefore he could be attacked. So we had a tall order now ahead of us, in front of us. We had to defeat the imperialist armies around the river Haale near Breitenfeld that were commanded by Albrecht Wallenstein and the Kaiser without the help of Gustavus Adolphus. This is crucial so that these armies do not gang up on our king if left unchecked. Here are again the 4 imperialist armies: von Hatzfeld, Albrecht Wallenstein with the Kaiser, and the 2 other armies. Here is again Weimar with all those generals encamped around it. We have received reinforcements and still have 3 units on boats on the river Haale. Albrecht Wallenstein has a rather modest army without any imperial tertius or other heavy units. And here is the army of Johann Casimir von Wellen with 5 troops of horse and some foot, including 2 units of grenadiers. Von Wellen attacks von Hatzfeld and Albrecht Wallenstein comes to his aid. Von Hatzfeld has an entirely mercenary army, and so does Wallenstein, save for a company of post-reformed musketeers and some archers. Here's Albrecht Wallenstein, very glorious. Next to him is Ferdinand Ernst von Habsburg the Scarred, Martin von Lalaine, Freiherr Rudolf von Marzen Carreras, and Federico Savelli. Wallenstein is a night fighter, so a night attack is pointless. The odds are against us. Let us hope fortune favors us.
Muster your courage, men! We march into battle!
Our general seems suitably concerned about attacking the Imperialists.
Men, I am in two minds whether or not to take the fight to the enemy. There are arguments in favor of waiting here for them to come to us. Equally, there are arguments for advancing with a loud hurrah. In either case, I know you will fight rather well. Or at least, not badly. They call themselves holy, our foes. I've seen holier heretics and heathens. I've even seen fish with more grasp of religious truth.
Our enemies have no grasp of religious truth. That must count for something.
I see that the enemy have brought firearms with them. A pity, for we lack the armor to deal with such soldiers without an overly risky attack. And so I say this to the enemy general. Are you looking at my bird? Are you? Huh? Come here and say that, you Nancy.
Von Wellen seems drunk as a fish. Let's hope he does not fall off his horse during the battle. Von Hatzfeld has been caught by surprise and he is out of position. Our general orders his men to advance within musket shot as the Imperialists are hastily reorganizing their line. Wallenstein is still some way off, but it is not in the style of our army to charge headlong into battle. So von Wellen decides on the second option, as he indicated also in his closing remarks, to let the enemy come to us, if they so wish. Our army is deployed in the Swedish formation but is short of men and the formation is incomplete. We have the higher ground, which is to our advantage. Our army rotates its front so that it faces our enemy. Both armies are for a while maneuvering, but we complete our deployment quickly and our musketeers get to open fire first. The Imperialists respond by sending some cavalry against our right wing. Our cavalry on that side counter-charges and forces the Imperialists to retreat. Here is our left wing. For the time being all looks well, and perhaps you are expecting everything will go smoothly, that we will fire at each other from the distance and that eventually our enemy will retire with heavy losses. These kinds of battles are becoming a thing of the past. You saw in episode 19 that bloody battle with 5 armies near Greiz. This one will be just as hard fought. So here are some Hakapelita, some Finnish cavalry. They have no firearms, they fight with swords, they are very lightly armored. And here are dragoons. Here is a company of Blue Brigade musketeers. There's some late period Positifor musketeers. They have just repulsed a charge by some Italian reiters. The Blue Brigade pikemen there will come to their aid. Here these are wonderful cuirassiers. They are Trots Småland cuirassiers, a Swedish regiment. They are very nicely done. These types of black armor were historical for this period, and I have seen them at the castle of Zingmering in South Germany. Very much like that, very nicely done. So here the Småland cuirassiers are charging an enemy cavalry unit, and in fact it is the enemy general Melchior von Hatzfeld. And here's some pikemen, some mercenary pikemen fighting for the Imperialists, are engaged with our line. They are supported by cavalry. Here our Trots Småland cuirassiers are charging the enemy general Melchior von Hatzfeld, and now they are engaged in melee, and the Imperialists continue their attacks. Here the pikemen, the enemy pikemen, have been routed by our Blue Brigade pikemen. More units are coming our way. We have some grenadiers here, and they are about to throw some grenades as they are approaching mercenary pikemen. And the mercenary pikemen are very hard hit. They change their mind, they decide to veer off, but those turncoats carry on, and they charge our blue brigade musketeers. Now they are retreating. You can see them in the distance. We have some enemy Zweihander here. They've been also pummeled with grenades, and some more enemy pikemen and some reiters. This battle was just crazy. You had to be at 5 places at once. It's very difficult to film anything. So here are the enemy pikemen. They have charged one of our units on the right side, and they are supported by cavalry, by Italian reiters. We have some grenadiers here, more charging and counter-charging. Our cavalry is skirmishing. Here is our left wing, and there are some turncoats fighting for the Imperialists. They are parading in front of our cavalry, being shot. They change their mind, and some pikemen are moving towards our cavalry. Here some enemy cavalry have charged our musketeers in the background. Some enemy pikemen are engaged in a push of pike with our musketeers. Here is Wallenstein, and further in the distance there is the Kaiser, Ferdinand Ernst von Habsburg. So Albrecht Wallenstein and the Kaiser are here. And the Hakapelita here are about to charge the flank of the Kaiser, who veers off. He retreats in haste, accompanied by Albrecht Wallenstein. Here our Trotz, Smaland cuirassiers have routed an enemy cuirassier unit. Another one of our cuirassier troops have charged enemy archers. Here are those Hakapelita chasing the Kaiser.
The enemy are badly bloodied. They have lost half their men.
And Albrecht Wallenstein, they're outnumbered, but they force them to flee, to run. And now they've reached this area where there are some farms, and they cannot retreat further, and so they counterattack. Here another one. Unit of our cuirassiers charges some enemy archers, and they absolutely maul them. They run them down. There were about 44, I believe, 45 of them, and barely a handful survived the charge. So you can see where we are. We're about in the center of the battlefield here. Here are again our cavalry. They are cutting down some retreating pikemen. A depleted unit of Blue Brigade pikemen are engaging some enemy dragoons to stop them from firing, and some of our cavalry passed by. The dragoons started chasing our cavalry. That's all good, because while they are running around they cannot fire. Here some turncoats have been routed. The fighting went on, and Prince Ferdinand Ernst von Habsburg has been slain. So the enemy Kaiser has been slain, while he has been presumably injured, because he will not be killed in his palace, in his schloss, in his hunting lodge in Austria. But he was also present in the battle. I guess he wasn't killed, but he was perhaps injured. And that was Wallenstein there. He was fighting against our pikemen. So our pikemen now have attacked enemy lines, and the enemy lines finally have been put to rout. So they're routing, the enemy musketeers are running for their lives, and the battle has come to a conclusion. The enemy abandons the field of battle. They retreat from the battlefield, and our cavalry is taken prisoners.
The enemy army flees the field. Pursue and run them down.
So that was an incredible battle, very tense, very hard to rout the enemy units because they had the Kaiser with him, they had Albrecht Wallenstein with him. It was extremely difficult to rout anyone. And so they fought until the very end, almost, until the Kaiser fell in the battle and Wallenstein was forced to retreat. So a somewhat Pyrrhic victory. We lost about a third of our army. Here our cavalry is chasing down the enemy. It's very important we capture all these people to stop them from joining up with the garrison of Weimar and sallying out to attack our king.
By the grace of God, our foe is utterly vanquished. Let all who remember this day remember it as the day of our most glorious victory.
So a close victory. We lost a third of our army. The grenadiers saved the day, killing some 600 men. Our cavalry ultimately outperformed the Italian cuirassiers and the many generals' bodyguards of the imperialists and helped us win the battle. Our musketeers also did well, so Johann Casimir von Wellen was perhaps right in choosing to fight cautiously. The imperialists ransomed the prisoners, which was rather unfortunate. The remains of the two enemy armies retreated to Weimar, which is about to be besieged by our king. His plan was to preempt the battle by the river by forcing the garrison to sally out to reinforce one of the generals outside Weimar, whom he was planning to attack. But he ran out of movement and the battle could not take place this time. This is why you see him separated from the rest of the armies that are still on the river Haale. Here are the Scots and Gustav Horn and von Wellen with the remnants of his army. And here is Albrecht Wallenstein in Weimar with the sorry remnants of his army.
You're no warrior. You're but a mere Schweinefarmer.
I will continue with his battles near Breitenfeld and the river Haale in the next episode. Thank you for watching.